I get a call from somebody from the Diamondback. They said somebody peed in the pool. They want to start an investigation. I said, I'm not going to go down there and ask who peed in the pool.
Welcome to another episode of Dodgers Debate. I'm your host, Maddie Lee, and I am joined by our fantastic columnists, Miriam Swanson and Bill Plaschke.
I've got somebody. F-bomb. 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 He knows one curse word. Uses the hell out of it.
You know that one. You don't really need to know the other one. Like, there's no...
It's true.
You've gotten to the top. He was letting them fly in Wednesday's game as he was hitting and pitching, which is, impressive, doing it on both sides.
I love his F-bombs.
He was a big part of a weirdly interesting series against the Rockies this week. It ended with him pitching and hitting and 6 no-hit innings, which we will get to. But it also, this week, included a ton of injuries. The latest was Teoscar Hernandez, but we also had Kike coming back from the IL and going back onto the IL with the oblique strain. We had Max Muncy out for a little bit he was hit on the wrist by a pitch. He is back, but the latest is Teoscar, who is going on the IL with a hamstring strain. They've got Ryan Ward coming in. He'll be recalled in order to fill in for him. But man, we saw a lot of pitching injuries, and now it's time for the position players.
It is a freak thing for Muncy, but it's not a freak thing for Kike or Teo. Kike is 34, played 130 postseason games. Teo's 33. I think those kind of obliques, hamstrings, they got a big problem on their hands because this stuff can happen late in the season. I mean, this isn't a broken hand or a sprained ankle. This is something that comes from age, and these age injuries are going to catch up to them. That's my biggest concern about the whole season. I've been concerned all along is what happens in the fall when these older guys start to break down even more.
I'm now seeing your point, Bill. Maybe they are. They are old, yeah. At least like these key players, and this stuff is going to happen. It's also giving me like PTSD to the Lakers season because Luka and Austin, who are not that old, but they had a hamstring and an oblique in the same day that really threw their season off track. The Dodgers are deeper though than the Lakers, and this is what the depth is for. And now you've got all these young guys who are chomping at the bit. The Alex Calls of the world and the Hyun Kims, and Alex Freeland gets to stick around and he continue to show what he can do. And those guys are pretty good and young, and hopefully won't be tearing their hamstrings or messing up their obliques. But it's such a bummer though for Kike and Teo. I was talking to Miggy when I was in Colorado, and he was saying how hard like Teo had worked to just like prove that at 33 he could still do it, and he's still that guy, and clearly he had in the offseason, and then nonetheless. So what heartbreaking.
And he just started hitting really well, really tough timing. And then Kike's a guy too, where there are ripple effects where him coming back, it's like, oh, he's a utility guy. You can move him around and give other guys days off. They do still have Tommy Edman working back, so he'll be back eventually. And we'll get a little taste of Ryan Ward. We only got 2 games of him. Miriam, you got to see his
I got the Ryan Ward game
debut. What was your impression in Colorado as he came up?
He was like, the guy who'd been, waiting his turn, and the Dodgers apparently liked that about him. He had a great day at the plate the day that he played. I think they lost that game though. It was like a weird game, and then there was so much happening, like trying and getting hit in the head during batting practice, and Edwin Diaz going on the DL, and he was overshadowed. But I know him and Dalton are cool, and Dalton said, Doc, put in Ryan, let Ryan have this game. So that was a cool story. He seems like a solid ball player, and he's been waiting his turn. He's not been having the greatest year, I don't think, in the minors, but plug and play, and we'll see what happens.
Ryan Ward has been here like 20 years, right? He's unbelievable. He's like Crash Davis. I'd love to see him.
Like that, but yeah, he's pushing it. Yeah.
But speaking of Diaz, it's like the Dodgers don't need him. Their bullpen, Tanner Scott is, I'll say now, officially unbelievable. He's Tanner Scott. He's Tanner Scott again. Last year was clearly an outlier. He's Tanner, and that changes everything for the Dodgers bullpen.
Pulaski, you were really skeptical coming into the year.
Very skeptical.
Are you fully bought in? Have they completely changed your mind?
So deep. They're all throwing well. They're all working off each other. Klein has been great.
Yeah.
He's really been. Last year was not a weird thing. It was really him. Vest has been great.
I feel like everyone in that bullpen is really good besides Miguel Rojas.
Yeah,
they might need to find a new position player to pitch. Yeah, no offense to Miggy, but ooh.
Trust anybody with the ball but that guy.
Yeah, I've been amazed at the scoreless inning streak they had going.
Yeah, 38 innings is an insane number.
And that's so big for October. That's so big because you'll remember last year they had to use the starting rotation as the bullpen.
Edwin essentially becomes like a trade deadline acquisition when he comes back from the IL. They finished off what was almost a no-hitter. They had a no-hit bid going into the 8th. Then a single got through, and that's that. But Shohei Ohtani had a bizarre start where to have 6 no-hit innings, phenomenal. But also a run scored. He walked a bunch of guys. He hit a guy.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of F-bombs with F-bomb counter going on.
The most amazing thing was that we're so numb to it. His leadoff homer. There have been 3 leadoff homers hit in baseball history by a pitcher. All 3 are him, and 2 in the last week.
Yep.
That's
back-to-back starts.
We're so numb to that. It's like common practice. It's numbing. That is so. He's the only player in baseball.
It's crazy.
And forever to do this.
Yamamoto's going to want to hit to give himself run support.
If a team gets no hit by 3 or 4 arms, do you count that as a no-hitter?
They're 2 different categories for me. A no-hitter and a combined no-hitter.
Do you guys think that did you want to see Ohtani stay in the game?
No. He would be, Roberts would be torched for doing that.
Yeah, I was too high.
No. I was surprised that anybody would have wanted that, but it seems like some people did just because there was a no-no.
He wasn't close. Like, if he was at that point in the 8th, sure.
Right. Yeah.
It was 6 innings. You don't need him finishing that game.
Especially that game.
Yeah.
Also, did anybody notice how Eric Karros on TV reacts when his son comes to the plate?
No.
It's like silence. It's kind of cool. He doesn't say, he never refers to him by name. And he pretty much just steps back.
It's pretty funny when he hit a home run too. He said Miggy's his favorite pitcher of all time now.
I wonder how much of that is like wanting to take himself out of it because of obviously the relationship, but also like he's got to still get nervous, right? When his kid steps up to the plate, like does that ever leave you as a parent?
You watching your kid make his money, or lose his money, or make his future, or with every swing, everything could change.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess baseball is different than basketball too, because Michael Thompson and I've of course called lots of Klay Thompson games, but it feels like an at bat feels different than the flow of a game. Maybe.
Yeah, I agree, because at a bat it's just you.
Yeah.
Clay.
Did you guys see the clip of Freddie trying to get Karros' attention, get him to look up to the booth?
Freddie is hilarious as a first baseman. Yeah.
I know. Somebody should do a book about everything he talks about over there. Somebody should get him to record, put a little pocket recorder in his pocket, and record the season, and then do a book about it.
That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, because he talks.
You're hired, Bill.
Yeah.
I want to read it.
Do it. Convince him.
Yeah. All right. So the Dodgers go to Arizona next week, And that had me thinking about a story time.
Love story time.
The
I'm locked in.
Their whole championship run, what is it, 12 division wins in 13 years, started in Arizona in 2013 when they clinched a division against the Diamondbacks, and they celebrated in their pool. It was a very famous thing. Mm-hmm. I was there. I'm going to read you a little story time.
Great.
Mark, cue up the music. Their weary souls covered in the pain, sweat that comes from digging through the deepest of expectations. The Dodgers celebrated the triumphant climax of the regular season journey Thursday with the most perfect splash. The boys took a bath. Shortly after the Dodgers defeated the Arizona Diamondbacks 7-6 to clinch the National League West championship, about half the team jogged out of its Chase Field dugout across an empty right field expanse and headed toward the right center field wall. This was not going to be a victory lap. This was going to be a victory swim. The players were running to Chase Field's signature pool, led by Adrian Gonzalez, a group of guys in baseball pants, championship t-shirts, and goggles, sprinted to the outfield fence, climbed over it, and went flying into the small pool that has become a quirky yet beloved symbol of the Diamondbacks franchise. Nick Punto did a cannonball. Yasiel Puig did a swan dive. Clayton Kershaw led the whooping and splashing. Hyun-Jin Ryu also went for a dip, but only after his teammates strained to pull a substantial lefty over the fence. Diamondbacks were so mad at that. Yeah. Here's the whole footnote of the story. So I'm writing a story in the press box, and the Diamondbacks are furious. The officials are furious. And, you know, the wars getting down on the web. All the fans are furious. I get a call from somebody from the Diamondbacks. They said somebody peed in the pool. I said, what? They said somebody peed in the pool. Who peed in the pool? I said, I don't know who peed in the pool. One of your Dodgers peed in our pool.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They want to start an investigation. I said, I'm not going to go out there and ask who peed in the pool. I'm not going to. And to this day, the names have never come out. Although I've got a really good idea, a very strong idea who peed in that pool. But they were all shrouded. They all kind of around each other. So
how'd they figure out that there was pee?
They actually did while standing off the pool.
After everyone's out, hopefully.
It was an unbelievable scene. It was the start of it all. That's how it all started. And then since then, we were so hyped up when winning the championship. We thought it was a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
And 16 years later, they're still doing it.
That's a perfect transition for it. They're still doing it so much so that they have become the center of CBA discourse. So we finally
talk about this crap.
We're here. It started. We have proposals. This is a bit of a moving situation. We've got MLBPA submit their first proposal, and we're recording around noon on Thursday, and a bunch of national reporters are now have details on the leagues, what the league sent back. But the Dodgers seem to be in the middle of it, where even in just their quotes, the response from the league really centered around competitive balance and cited the Dodgers what the Dodgers luxury tax as an example, what their payment would be under the PA's proposal. And it looks like, according to a bunch of reports, that their counter proposal includes a hard cap, which we of course were expecting. But it's here. We're all expecting, and the PA has said this publicly, that the owners will likely lock out the players as soon as this CBA ends, and then we don't know what. We don't know if they'll be able to come to an agreement before we get into next season. We don't know what the danger is of losing games. There's still a lot of time between now and then, but
I'm always on the side of the players in these deals. The owners have all the power. They can spend it as much as they want, and they're just not spending it. I'm not blaming the Dodgers for doing all they can. Everybody in baseball should do all they can. So I guess I just taught myself. What I'm saying is, I'm on the side of what the Dodgers are doing. which is spending the most money because everybody has the money and not everybody spends it. So Dodgers are not the villains in this. The players are not the villains in this. This is the owner's fault.
It's going to be interesting. The Dodgers are very much the political football that both sides, I think, are going to look at. I mean, like, right, the owners are going to try to appeal to the fans and say, look at your teams can't afford to do what the Dodgers are doing. But, and I guess the players are coming back and they're like, let's find a way for the Dodgers to be able to pay us more so that all the teams can pay us. But yeah, no, they're the centerpiece of the whole conversation, and it's really interesting.
This is so boring. It bores the hell out of me. The Dodgers are smarter than everybody else. They're savvier than everybody else. I think the Dodgers wouldn't. Do you think that? I think the Dodgers, if they have a salary cap, like, they probably won't mind being like, okay, so we can't pay more, sorry, but we'll still like run laps around everyone anyway. They have the best minor league system. Yeah. The best international science system. You're exactly right, Maria. The salary cap is not going to stop them.
And this is a gut feeling at this point. But the players' one thing for so long has been they don't want a salary cap. I don't see this as being the moment for it to actually, and the owners have tried to get it for just as long. I don't see this as the moment where it's actually going to happen. But I am worried that because it's out there so early, that's going to be a major bargaining chip. And then finally at the end, the owners can be like, okay, well, I guess we can give up this main huge thing that we were going after, but we're going to need a ton of concessions. And I don't know what that looks like. And maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe this plays out and the owners really do dig in their heels on that. But I think if they do, then we could potentially lose a lot of games.
They're both so dumb because baseball's going so well right now. With the pitch clock and the ABS. Shohei's doing so well. Yeah. And the NBA is doing so poorly. And to succeed,
the NBA doesn't even have a hard cap, right? Like,
yeah, right. All these aprons. Mm-hmm. But I just think to give up the stage to the NBA next spring would be suicide. It's just ridiculous. It's so dumb. They got to realize they're in a really good spot. Rob Manfred's actually put them in a really good spot.
I'm still hopeful that we're going to have a similar situation to the last turn where yes, the season got pushed back, but didn't lose any games. Fingers crossed. The last time we lost games was the 94-95 strike. But hopefully we don't get there.
Yeah, I'd much rather talk about players peeing in an Arizona pool.
The important stuff. Yes.
Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you to our viewers for tuning in, and you can see all of our content, our writing. You can have story time yourself by reading off of latimes.com, and we'll see you next time.
Oral, good afternoon, pal. Thanks for making time for Doug and I.
Whatever you told your fans and me coming on, I'm glad I'm getting to do it for you now.
Me too, Oral. It is a pleasure to talk to you again. So we were talking about Eric Lauer earlier, and just full disclosure, DMAC called the Dodgers would make whatever adjustments were necessary, and he would be great. And I was, in typical fashion, incredibly skeptical, not very nice, and absolutely wrong. Well, what is it about the Dodgers and their pitching staff that allows them to take guys at times, including yesterday, who have not had success, and then to suddenly turn out an Eric Lauer who has a gem of a game?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that could be really complicated, but I think to kind of put captions on it, I think they make the player feel very comfortable, like this is going to be about you and making you better, but you're going to buy into the things maybe we're suggesting. And if you don't buy in, then we'll figure out a way to massage it and turn you into something that you're comfortable with. So I think you have that. So the personality and the communication. And then I think you have all the way they analyze a guy's stuff and his repertoire and eliminate certain things and add certain things and strategize on which hitters we should add or which hitters we should subtract. And I think it just becomes something where once you have the buy-in and once you know that the guy is confident in what you're doing. So as any coach, you want your student, your player, your pitcher to be successful early. because it gives the confidence to the player that, hey, these guys know what they're talking about. And so the Dodger organization has not only been a place where we trade for people and then fix them, but we also have become a destination for other players where they say, I want to be a Dodger. I know the Dodgers are going to help me. I want to play around Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Ohtani and Yamamoto and Shohei pitching. It's been a great equation that these guys have built over the years.
And Oro, one of the big lightning rods this year has been Roki Sasaki, another pitcher. The organization's developing a 3.52 ERA in his last 4 starts. He has added that splitter to pair with the forkball, worked on the slider, worked on the fastball command. You've talked a lot about the mechanical adjustments with the back leg, but what have you seen from Roki? Has he turned a corner? We know success isn't always linear for young pitchers, but what do you see right now from Roki, Oral?
Well, you see a growth and maturity, and his ears are open, and he's also, doing what he wants to do, but also doing it within the confines of, I have to be better. And so to be really consistent, you have to be able to repeat your lower half, and that's what he's been working really hard on. Because of the hype of him coming to Los Angeles, because the staff is so deep, we were actually able to have him develop at the big league level, just like we had to have Ohtani rehab at the big league level last year because we needed him to DH. So it's an equation again for him that has fit together. And this is about when he should start getting it. I mean, you have to experience a certain amount of failure at the beginning to say, okay, the big leagues are different than any place I've ever pitched. And then once you experience the failure, it takes time to then communicate what we need to change and what are the foundational things that are going to change us. And again, you also have to have the buy-in from the player and convince them that this is going to work. And they develop confidence. And right now, they're in a great, great place. They're in a great place because he's getting results. And then he's also getting a fact like, oh, okay, I can get big league hitters out. I can get big league hitters out when I make mistakes because I'm throwing more strikes with my fastball. So now I'm able to change speeds. I've actually changed the grip on my forkball, and now instead of a forkball, I have a forkball and a splitter, depending on the count. And then you get guidance on that. So it's a growth, and it's been painful to do it at the big league level. But with his resume and his talent, they knew it was going to happen sooner or later.
Talking to Dodgers legend Orel Hershiser here on DMAC and Ryder 97.1 The Fan, and we're going to visit with Orel in a second about the grand reopening of Orel Hershiser, Chevy, and Chino. By the way, that's tomorrow. It's at 10:30. Ribbon cutting, just a few blocks from the dealership at 11:30. Or I'm gonna pull you into this friendly debate baseball conversation that's been recurring between DMAC and I. To what degree, if you have to choose between Shohei Ohtani chasing a Cy Young Award and having optimal offensive production, if one costs you the other a little bit, do you have a lean this year on what you think the Dodgers and Shohei should prioritize between trying to be a Cy Young Award winner and being that offensive player who's the best or second best hitter in baseball when he's at that level?
Yeah, I think this is going to work itself out because he's probably going to be one of the best hitters in the big league still again, and he's always hit better in May, and we're seeing that he has, and he's always been a pretty slow starter. But I'm not worried about that. I know it's a topic that you guys are debating, and that's what talk radio is for, and that's what sports radio is for. It's like we all want to be armchair quarterbacks or armchair managers, but I think he can do both. I really do, and I think they're doing things to adjust it by when do we let him hit and he's pitching, what days are off, what day does he fall on as far as is there an off day after the day he pitches. And, of course, they're always talking to him about his body and his rest and his sleep and all the different things that they calculate and then get feedback on. So I don't think it's time to make that choice at all, but it is the first time in the history of his life that at 31 years old that he's trying to do both at an elite level. And because the offense had a little bit of a slow start, it became a topic. But again, I'm not worried about him being slow and not producing offensively the rest of the year. I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, Noro, by the way, I did remind everyone that in Game 2 of the World Series, you went 3 for 3 with 2 doubles and an RBI. You were doing some Shohei Ohtani things when you were on the mound with the Dodgers as well. Yeah. But I thought it was really cool. I remember during spring training, you showed up, you're wearing the jersey, you were around the team. I noticed you're talking to guys like Tanner Scott. He's really bounced back this season. He looks like the Tanner Scott that we saw with the Padres and the Marlins. What conversations did you have with him, and do you think that this is the Tanner Scott we're going to get with the Dodgers? It looks like he's back to being elite.
Yeah, what you saw in spring training was Dave Roberts and I were entertaining some Japanese sponsors in Hawaii, believe it or not, and that was a nice trip for me to take with my wife. But Dave's like, why aren't you in uniform anymore? I go, well, I haven't been there since COVID because you guys, cut stuff back and it was great. But he goes, I want you in uniform. So that was an unbelievable invitation from Dave, and to come back, and Andrew welcomed me and all that. And then the conversation you see is really like, I had him with Sandy. I had him with Drysdale. I had him with Campanella. I had him with Johnny Padres. I had him with Larry Sherry. I had him with all these different. The O'Malleys used to invite the greats back to spring training, and they would, just kind of hang out with us. And it always helps people's confidence when you've had a tough year and it was your first year in that uniform and it's not going well. And then people are still talking to you. People are still relating to you. People are still pulling for you. And so any smidgen of influence that I had and what you saw in spring training was just what I've learned from the past, from Tommy Lasorda and from Al Campanis at the time and all the Dodgers that were, in charge, that they wanted us to rub shoulders with the people who have done it before. And I know what it did for me. I know when Sandy goes, that's the sinker you should throw. And when Don Drysdale goes, what are you doing griping about a lack of run support? You go out there and they get you one run. That should be enough. I mean, I know what it's like to get that kind of advice from Hall of Famers. And so that relationship is so, so important.
Talking to Oral Hershiser here on DMAC and Ryder. Oral, we want to lean into your expertise as a player, former player, as a legend, as an excellent broadcaster at Sportsnet LA. And maybe you can sort of give us a little behind the scenes perspective. We've been talking about Dave Roberts and trying to give him his flowers on just pulling the right lever. It feels like nonstop this season, moving Mookie to 4 is the latest example. Wherever he puts Andy Pages in the lineup. When Shohei was slumping, he had Shohei take a day out of the lineup, and it seemed to work. The management of the bullpen has been incredible. Where Will Smith is, just sort of go down the list.
Right.
In your experience, what is it about Dave Roberts that allows him tactically or just as a man manager, human being to human being, to be so effective in a very high-stress situation, big expectations for the Dodgers and a lot of guys that make a lot of money, to just seems like again and again make these correct decisions?
Yeah, I think, he has to deal with the media 2 and 3 and 4 times a day, right? So he's used to giving interviews. He knows what it's like to tell the truth, and he also knows what it's like to protect his roster and where they are in the season and what's really going on. So he has that experience. The other thing that he's very, very good at, and even though it says manager next to his name, he really knows that when he walks in the locker room or he's on the field, he's a coach. And so he has continued to coach. And that makes him ring true no matter where he is in the organization. The relationship he has with the players and their family, the relationship he has with the players as far as what they're trying to execute on the field and how he sees that they can change or they could stay the same in certain areas. When he watches a good at bat and the guy lines out to short, or the guy hits a ground ball and just rolls over it, but just rolled over it barely, and the guy comes back to the bench beating himself up, he's still coaching, and he'll pull him aside and go, look, stay right where you're at. The results are going to come. So he's really doing a great job of relating at every little segment of time that is about coaching, not as much as about managing.
And Oral, we saw last year Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He was the World Series MVP. He was the hero in the postseason. He threw over 200 innings, regular season and postseason combined. You back in 1988, you threw 267 innings and 42 plus in the postseason. The following year, you threw 256 plus. How do you think they're going to manage Yoshinobu Yamamoto? And do you remember how that carryover felt the following season, having pitched all those innings, and just what impresses you the most about him as a pitcher?
I think the thing that's going to buoy him as far as being able to continue to produce with large amounts of volume is the efficiency of his mechanics. When you are throwing the ball properly, it actually can feel like it's just coming out of your hand and there wasn't as much effort. when you have rough days with your location or you have rough days spinning the baseball and getting it for a strike, we know something's probably off with the mechanics, and that means there's more muscles firing and it's slightly out of order, and those are stressful pitches. But he gets it lined up about as good as anybody. And you would say, well, but it doesn't look as athletic as most people, and it's not. But he gets it in the right position, and he's able to use the lever system correctly. And so just like when you see certain golf swings, some look a little bit more mechanical and some look a little bit really athletic. He is the one that looks a little bit more mechanical, but he turns it into an athletic move that'll be very efficient. But you are right. It is hard to pitch all the way into November. It is hard to start the day before and then come into relief and pitch multiple innings with the stress of a world championship on the line. But I think he'll figure it out. And I don't worry about a fall off with him. I think we've seen a little bit of a fall off in the last few starts, but all of a sudden I'm watching the mechanics and everything else come back together.
It is Dodgers legend Oral Hershiser, Legends Addict, Sportsnet LA. And Oral, we have monopolized your time. You've been incredibly gracious about that. Before we let you run, please tell us about the grand reopening ceremonies tomorrow of Oral Hershiser, Chevy, and Chino.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the corner of Riverside and Central and Chino. We love not only Chino, the way they've opened their arms to us, but Oral Hershiser Chevrolet. I've got some pretty high standards of how I want the customers treated and how we're going to run the dealership. We're taking over from a legacy family, M.K. Smith, and we are proud of what we're getting to able to buy and actually then serve the community. So tomorrow, between 11 and 2, and we're going to have a little bit of a ceremony at the dealership before with a ribbon cutting with some dignitaries, but we're going to actually then caravan over. There's actually a small parade going on in Chino that we're going to go over to City Hall where we have an activation of some food and a bunch of stuff and a band and a DJ, and it'll be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
I've got about 10, 11 of my celebrity friends coming, like a Mike Scioscia and a Jaime Hareen and Dave Anderson and Mickey Hatcher, Robert Ory. So a bunch of guys. Joe Davis, I think, is coming out. John Hartung is going to MC for me. So very nice of those guys to come out and support the cause of the new business. So I got my fingers in a lot of things.
That's extremely cool. Congratulations to everybody listening. Get out there tomorrow. It starts at 10:30, ribbon cutting 11:30 in Chino. And Oral, DMAC and I have been talking about you on the air since we launched the station a week and a half ago. We love the work you do at Sportsnet LA.
Oh, thank you.
And we love talking baseball with you. Hope to do it again soon. Thank you, sir.